So friends, today we have the another topic, that is transportation problem and methods of finding the initial solution through this transportation problem. So transportation problem is one of the application of the linear program transportation problem and methods of finding the initial solution. Myself, Dr. Sandeep Thakre. I am working as an assistant professor of agriculture economics at Sri Sivaji Agriculture College, Amravati. Okay. So what do you mean by transportation problems? This transportation problem is one of the application of the linear programming. That is the physical distributions of the goods and services from several supply center to several demand supply at the minimum transportation cost and at the minimum time. How to get this? How to fulfill the demand within a minimum time and with at the minimum transportation cost. So that is the concept of the transportation problem. The object of the transportation problem is to determine the number of units of an items which should be shipped from origin to a destination in order to satisfy the required quantity of the goods and services at each destination center. At each destination center with the limited quantity of the goods and available services available at each supply center. Which each destination center means it's a demand center and each supply center means from the supply center at the minimum transportation cost and in a minimum time. How to get the or how to fulfill the demand of that center or destination center, demand of the destination center from the supply center at the minimum transportation cost and minimum within a minimum time. It's a concept of the transportation problem. Transportation problem is one of the application of the linear programming. So there are the different methods to solve. Different methods are available to solve or finding the initial solution or to solving this transportation problem. There are the three methods available. There are the three methods of the transportation problem for finding the initial solution. The first method is called as the NWCM method, northwest corner method, NWCM method. Second method, LCM method, that is the least cost method. And third method, VAM method, VAM, that is Vogel's approximation methods. So we see this all the methods one by one. So the first method, that is the northwest corner method, it is a very simple and efficient method to obtain the initial solution. But this method does not take into account the cost of the transportation on any route of the transportation. These are the steps available for solving the problem with the help of northwest corner methods. Okay. So the step one is to start with the cell at the minimum left or northwest corner of the transportation matrix and allocate as much as possible equal to the minimum of the value. So we go through this example. So in this example, it is seen that this D1, D2, D3, and D4, these are the demand centers, and S1, S2, and S3 are the supply sources. Okay, so the demand of the D1 unit is 5. Demand of the D1 is 5 unit. Then demand of the D2 is 8 units. Demand of D3 is 7 units, and demand of D4 is 14 units. Likewise, the supply from the S1 source is 7 units. Supply from the S2 source is 9 units, and supply from S3 source is 18 units. Okay, so the first step, that is start with a cell at the upper left or northwest corner. So generally in this method we have to start the cell from the northwest corner or the upper left corner of the transportation matrix. Then we start from the northwest corner of the transportation matrix. That's why this method is called as the northwest corner method. Okay, so start with the cell at the upper left or northwest corner of the transportation matrix and allocate as much as possible equal to the minimum of the rim value for the first row and first column. First row and first column is, so here this 19, 30, 50, 10, 70, 30, 40, 60, 48, 70, and 20. These are all the cost of transportations. Okay, so this 19 value lies in 1 1, first row, first column. Likewise, this 30 value lies in 1 2, first row, second column. 50 value lies in first row, third column, and 10 value lies in first row, fourth column. Okay. Similarly, for S2, this 70 value lies in second row, first column, 30, second row, second column, 40, second row, third column, and the 60 value, that is second row, fourth column. And again this is a 3 1, then 3 2, 3 3, and 3 4. So this is the northwest corner or upper left corner, where the cost of transportation is 19 units. Okay, so demand of this D1 unit is 5 units. Demand of D1 is 5 units, and sources of S1 from S1, the supply from S1 source is 7 units. So we can allocate here as much as possible. So already given in the step. So allocate as much as possible equal to the minimum ring value. Okay, so the demand of D1 is 5 units and supply of S1 is 7 units. So in this case we can allocate all 5 units at D1 S1 cell in the at a 1 1 cell. So it means the demand for the D1 unit is fulfilled, because the demand of the D1 unit is 5 units and we allocate 5 unit at S1 D1 1 1 cell. So demand of the D1 unit is fulfilled. Okay, then second step, if the allocation made in step 1 is equal to the supply available in the first source, allocation made in the step 1 is equal to the supply available in the first source, then move vertically. But still the supply from S1 unit is 7 and we allocate only the 5 units. The demand for D1 is fulfilled, but still the 2 units of the supply quantity is remaining. So we can allocate these 2 units at S1 D2. S1 D2 means this 5 plus 2, that is the 7 units. So the demand of this D2 unit is 8 unit. Out of this 8 units we fulfill the 2 units of the 2 units demand of the D2 unit. So remaining units are the 6 quantity. Okay, the demand of D1 is fulfilled and demand of D2 is 8 units. Then out of these 8 units we fulfill 2 units of the D2 units. But and again the supply of the S1 source, that is 7 units. This 5 plus 2, that is 7 units. So we completed the supply through the S1 units. Okay, then move vertically down to the cell 2 1 in the second row and first column and apply step 1 again for the next allocation. Move 2 1. 2 1 means this 70. Okay, 70. But this 70 means it's a 2 1. Okay, but the demand of this D1 unit is we already fulfilled, so we cannot allocate here. But we allocate here because the demand of D2 unit is 8 unit and we fulfilled only 2 units. So we can allocate the 6 units in a for the D2 center. 6 units for the D2 centers. Again, the supply from the S2 source is 9 units. Okay, and demand of D2 is 8 units. So 6 plus 2, that is the 9 units, is the demand of D2 center is fulfilled. But the supply of S2 source is 9 units and we fulfilled only the 6 units till the 3 units are the remaining. So we can allocate this remaining 3 units in the D3. The remaining 3 units in the D3. That means the source supply from S2 units 9 units is also completed. That is 6 plus 3, that is equal to 9. The supply from S1 units is 7 units. We also completed is 5 plus 2, that is the 7. Then D2 6 plus 3, that is 9. Then the demand of D1 5 units already fulfilled. Then demand for D2 8 units, that is 6 plus 2 already fulfilled. Okay, then the next steps, if the allocation made in step 1 is equal to the demand of the first destination B1 in first column, then move horizontally to the cell 1 2 in the first row and second column is we already covered. If A1 is equal to B1, so allocate X11 is equal to A1 or B1 and move diagonally to the cell 2 2. So we move diagonally, we already moved to the diagonally to 2 2. But here the demand of D3 unit is 7 units and we only fulfill the 3 units of the D3. Okay, so we can allocate the remaining 4 units in S3 D3 cell, means this 4 plus 3 that is equal to 7. 4 plus 3 that is equal to 7. That means the demand of the D3 units is also fulfilled. Demand of D3 units is also fulfilled. Likewise, the supply from S3 source is 18 units, and out of this 18 units we have completed the 4 units, so we can allocate the remaining 14 units for the D4. Obviously here the demand for D4 unit is 14 units and we can allocate the 14 units for the D4. Okay, that means the demand of D1 units, that is 5 units, is fulfilled. Demand for D2 8 units also fulfilled. Demand for D3 7 units also fulfilled, and demand of D4 unit 14 units also fulfilled. The supply of S1 is 7 units, that is we have completed 5 plus 2. Then S2, the supply from S2 source, that is 9, that is 6 plus 9, and demand of S3, that is 18, that is 14 plus 4, so 18. So we can calculate here the total transportation how will you calculate the total transportation cost? So this 19 unit into 5 units plus this 30 units into 2 units, 30 units into 2 units plus this 30 unit into 6 units plus 40 units into 3 units plus this 70 units into 4 units plus this 20 units into 14 units. So that is equal to the total transportation cost is 1015 rupees 1015. So through this northwest corner method, we have to, if we want to fulfill the demand for all demand centers through this supply sources, so we require the total transportation cost of rupees 1014. So this is the first method, that is the northwest corner method. Generally, from this, in this method, we start the cell from the upper left corner or from the northwest corner. So that's why this method is called as the northwest corner method. So first we allocate as much as possible in 1 1. If not, if we cannot allocate the full quantity in 1 1, then we go first we go to vertically from 2 to 2 1, then 2 2. Okay, so likewise we can estimate the total cost of the transportation by using this northwest corner method. So in this example, we require the total cost 1015, total cost of transportation for fulfilling the demand for this D1, D2, D3, D4 from S1, S2, S3 supply sources. Okay. The second method is called as the least cost method. Second method is called as the least cost method. Least means minimum cost. Least means minimum cost. So the objective of these methods, how to minimize the total transportation cost. Since the objective is to minimize the total transportation cost, so we must try to transport as much as possible through those routes where the unit transportation cost is lowest. Unit transportation cost is lowest. So in the first method, northwest corner method, this method does not take into account the cost of the transportation, but the least cost method takes into account the minimum unit cost of the transportation for obtaining the initial solution. So there are the different steps. The first step, select the cell with the lowest unit cost in the entire transportation table and allocate as much as possible in this cell, and eliminate or line out the row or the column in which either demand or supply is exhausted. Let's take the example. So the same example here also. So we will try to solve this example by using the LCM method. So the first step in the LCM method is, first select the cell with the lowest unit cost in the entire transportation table. Which one is the lowest unit cost in the entire transportation table? Here is the 19, then 30, then 50, then 10, 70, 30, 40, 60, then 48, 70, and 20. So in this entire transportation table, the lowest transportation cost is 8. So allocate as much as possible here. So the 8 is the lowest transportation cost, then we can see that the demand of D2 unit is 8 unit, and similarly the supply from the S3 sources is 18 units. So we have to allocate as much as possible. Supply is 18 units and demand is 8 units. So here we can allocate the all quantity 8 units of the D2. That means the demand of D2 unit is fulfilled. Demand of the D2 unit is fulfilled. Then line out or cross out the entire row or the entire table. So that means the role of D2 is finished because we have completed or we have fulfilled the demand of the D2 units. Then likewise also what our steps show, eliminate or line out the column or row in which either demand or supply is exhausted. If both a row and or a column are satisfied simultaneously, only one may be crossed out. In case the smallest unit cost cell is not unique, then select the cell where the maximum allocation can be made. There are the two things here. If both the row or the column are satisfied simultaneously, in this case only we have to cross out only one, either row or column. The second, in case the smallest unit cost cell is not unique. Is not unique means, suppose in this example the smallest unit cost 8, this 8 units is the smallest, but suppose if not is not unique, here is also 8, and suppose in this case here also 8 is not unique, then that time they select the cell where the maximum allocation can be made. Then second step, after adjusting demand and supply for all uncrossed out rows and column, repeat the procedure with the next lowest unit cost among the remaining rows and column. So the next lowest minimum transportation cost in remaining rows and column. So next smallest is, the first smallest is 8 units, the next smallest is 10 units. 10 units lies in S1 D4, where the demand for D4 is 14 units and supply from S1 is 7 units. Okay, obviously the supply is more than the demand, so here we can allocate all the 7 units of the demand. Means the supply is 7 units, we cannot allocate more than the supply. We cannot allocate more than the supply. Supply is 7 units and demand is 14 units, so we can allocate as much as possible. As much as possible means maximum we can allocate the 7 units because the supply is only 7 units. So In this case, the supply from the S1 sources, that is the 7 unit, is completed. So line out or cross out the row or column. So that means the role of the S1 unit is finished. Okay, role of the S1 unit is finished. Then okay, then the in the remaining rows and columns, we have to search the next lowest unit cost of the transportation. So remaining is 70, 40, 40, 70, 60 and 20. So out of this all transportation cost, the 20 is the next lowest cost. The first lowest cost is 8, second lowest cost is 10 and the next lowest cost is 20. Already we have fulfilled the demand of D4, that is the 7 units of the demand of the D4 from the S1 sources. Then the demand of D4 unit is 14 units, means again we have to fulfill the remaining 7 units of the D4, 7 units of the demand of D4 units. So here the lowest unit transportation cost is 20 units in the S3 D4, lies in S3 D4. So the supply of S3 unit is 18 units. Okay, demand for D4 is 14 units. We already allocate the 7 units. So here we can allocate the remaining 7 units, remaining 7 unit demand of D4. We can allocate the remaining 7 unit of demand of D4. That means the demand of D4 units, that is 7 plus 7, that is 14, means the demand of D4 unit is fulfilled. That means the role of the D4 is also finished. Okay, so we can cross out or line out the we can cross out or line out the that row, either row or column. So here we can cross out this column, D4 column. Okay, so this D1, D2, D4, D3 and D4 are the column and S1, S2, S3 are the row. Okay, then again we have to search the next lowest minimum cost. The next lowest minimum cost is here 40 and here also the 40. The first 40 lies in S3 D1 and the second 40 lies in S2 and D2. S2 and D2. So here the source from S2 units is 9 unit and up till now we cannot allocate any unit of the supplied quantity for S2. We cannot allocate any single quantity. Okay, so here out of these 9 units, the demand for D3 units, the demand for D3 units is 7 units. The lowest possible, lowest transportation cost is 40. The demand for D3 is 7. This 40 lies in S2 D3 and supply from S2 units is 9 units. So we can allocate the 7 units in D3. That means the demand of D3 is fulfilled. Demand of D3 is fulfilled. Then remaining quantity. So the supply from S2 units is 9. Out of this 9 units, we allocate already. We already allocated the 7 units. So we can allocate the remaining 2 units or the in a remaining 2 units in a S2 D1. Means 2 plus 7, that is equal to 9. Means the supply from S2 units 9 units is completed. Then S1 units, supply of S1 units, that is 7. We already allocated 7 unit in D4. Then S3. the supply from S3 units or S3 center is 18 units. Out of this 18 unit, we allocate 8 plus 7, that is 15 units. So 3 units are the remaining. So again, we have to check out the demand. So demand of D1 unit is 5. Out of these 5 units, we only allocate the 2 units, means we can allocate the 3 units. We can allocate the 3 units in S3 D1. Means the demand of the D1 is fulfilled, that is 3 plus 2, 5. Demand of D2 also fulfilled, that is 8 unit. Demand of D3 also fulfilled, that is the 7 units, because the demand of D3 is 7. So we fulfill the demand of D3. Then demand of D4 is 14 units. So we allocate the 7 units here and 7 units here. The 7 and 7 plus 7, that is 14. 7 plus 7, that is equal to 14. The supply of S1 units is 7 units. We already allocate here. Supply from S2, that is 7, that is 9 units. So 2 plus 7, that is equal to 9. And supply from S3 units is 18. So we can allocate this. We already allocated this 18 quantity, that is 3 plus 8 plus 7, that is equal to 18. So work out here the total transportation cost. Total cost. How to calculate the total cost? So first is 10 into 7 plus 70 into 2 plus 40 into 7 40 into 7 plus 40 into 3 plus 8 into 8 plus 20 into 7. So that is equal to the total transportation cost is rupees 814. So if we have to fulfill the demand of D1, D2, D3 and D4 units from the S1, S2 and S3 supply units, so through this LCM, list cost method, we require the total transportation cost, that is rupees 814. 814 cost. Okay. In this methods, first we have to remind these things. We have to start from the lowest cost. Lowest. We start in this method. We started from the lowest cost or least cost. That's why this method is called as the least cost method. That's why this method is called as the least cost method. Okay. Then the third method. So likewise, we cross out this all rows, some rows and column where the either demand and supply is exhausted. Either supply and demand is exhausted, we cross out that row or column. Okay. Then the third method is called as the Vogel approximation method. This Vogel approximation method, it is otherwise called as the penalty method or regret method. Penalty or regret method. So this method is very heuristic method and is referred to other two methods that described earlier, that is northwest corner method and least cost method. So in this method, each allocation is made on the basis of the opportunity, or this opportunity is otherwise called as the penalty or extra cost. So what are the steps of this method? So calculate first in this method. First we have to calculate the penalties for each row or column by taking the difference between smallest and next smallest unit transportation cost in the same row and same column, and that difference indicate the penalty or extra cost which has to be paid if one fails to allocate the cell with the minimum unit transportation cost. Then second, select the row or the column with the lowest penalty and allocate as much as possible in the cell having the least cost in the selected row or column satisfying the rim condition. If there is a tie between the values, then it can be broken by selecting the where we can allocate where the maximum allocation can be made. Then adjust the supply and demand and cross out the satisfied rows and column. If the row or column are satisfied simultaneously, then only one may be crossed out and the remaining row or column assigned a zero value. Row, column or supply demand assigned a zero value. Okay, and this any row or any column with the zero supply or demand should not be used for computing the penalty. Let's see the example. So this is the example on the northwest corner method, the same example. So first we have to calculate the difference, row difference, and second one is the column difference, row difference and column difference. So row difference means the difference between the smallest unit and the next smallest unit. Here the smallest unit is 10 and the next smallest is 19. Smallest is 10 and next smallest is 19. So 19 minus 10, that is the 9 unit. 9 unit. Okay. The second, the smallest is 30 and next smallest is 40. The difference between 30 and 40, that is 10. Then third, the smallest is 8 and the next smallest is 20. So the difference between these two is 12. Okay. Then the column difference, the smallest is 19 and next smallest is 40. So the difference between these two is 21. So smallest is 8 and next smallest is 30. So difference is 22. The smallest is 40, next smallest is 50. Difference is 10 units. And the smallest is 10 and next smallest 20. So difference is again 10 units. Okay, so we calculated or we take the row difference and column difference. So out of this difference, which value is maximum? So this 9, 10, 12, 21, 22, 10, 10. Out of these all values, the value 22 is the maximum value. Value 22 is a maximum value, and so this 22 comes for the this 22 value, maximum value or maximum penalty is for the D2 column, and in the D2 column the lowest cost is 8 units. Lowest cost is 8 units. So allocate as much as possible in the D2. So the D2 in the D2 column, the lowest cost is 8 unit and this 8 unit cost lies in S3 source supply and D2 destination 8 units. The demand for D2 is 8 units and supply from S3 is 18 units. So we can allocate this all quantity 8 units because the demand of D2 is 8 units and supply is more than the demand, that is the 18 units. So we fulfilled the demand of this D2 unit. So line out or cross out the row or the column where the demand is exhausted. So where here the demand of D2 column is exhausted. That's why we cross out this D2. When the demand of any row or any column is fulfilled, then that time for computing the penalties, we does not have to consider that row or the column. Then again we have to repeat the same procedure. The smallest cost is 10 units and next smallest is 19. The difference is 9 unit. Then smallest cost is, so we have to leave this D2 column. We have to leave to D column while computing the penalties, row difference, the row difference or column difference or both. Okay, so smallest is 40 unit and next smallest is 60 units. The difference is 20 units. Okay, in third row S3, smallest is 20 and next smallest is 40. So difference is again 20 units. In the column, smallest is 19, next smallest is 40. So 21. Here already we have fulfilled the demand of D2 column, so there is no need to calculate the penalty. Then the smallest is in D3, smallest is 40 units and next smallest is 50, so the difference is 10 units. Then in D4 the smallest is 10 units and next smallest is 20 units, difference is 10. Okay, so in all differences 9 20 column difference and row difference 9 20 20 21 and 10 10, the major difference is 21. 21 is the major difference. So we can, so this 21 difference is comes under the, is comes in a D1 column, comes in a D1 column. So in D1 column the lowest cost is 19 units, so 19 units comes under the S1 D1, where the demand of D1 unit is 5 units and supply of S1 is 7 units. Supply is more than the demand, so here we can allocate this all 5 units demand for D1 column, all 5 units demand for the D1 column, because the demand of D1 is 5 units, we allocate this all 5 units in S1 D1. Okay, so here the demand of D2 is also fulfilled, we have to cross out or line out the column, either column or the row. Here the demand of D1 column is fulfilled, that's why we cross out or line out the D1. Okay, again the same procedure, take the row difference and column difference, and for taking the row difference and column difference we does not have to consider the that row or the column where we already, where the demand either demand or supply is exhausted, we have to leave this row or the column. Okay, so here for taking the row difference there is a 4 values 90 30 50 10, so already the demand for D1 and D2 is, demand for D1 and D2 is fulfilled, so we do not have to consider this 19 and 30. So remaining values is 10 and 40, the difference between this 10 and 50 is 40 units. Then the difference, the two values 40 and 60, so the difference between 40 and 60 is 20 units. Then 70 and 20, so 70 minus 20, the difference is 50 units. Then column, so already the demand of D1 is exhausted, the demand of D2 is also exhausted or fulfilled, sorry fulfilled, the demand of D1 is fulfilled, demand of D2 is also fulfilled, and take the difference between the lowest is 40 and next lowest is 50, that is the 10 units, and take the difference for D4 column, the lowest is 10 and next lowest is 20, so difference is again 10. So out of this all differences, which one is the major difference out of this 40 20 50 10 10, that is the 50 is the major difference. It comes in a S3 row, it comes in a S3 row. Okay, so in a S3 row the supply of S3 is 18 units, supply of S3 is 18 units, and the lowest unit transportation cost is 20 units. Here the lowest unit cost is 8 units, no doubt 8 units, but we already fulfill the demand of the S2, so we have to go to the next lowest cost of transportation, that is the total is 20. So the supply from S3 units is 18 units, out of this 18 units we already fulfilled the 8 units of the demand for D2, so we can, and the demand for D4 is 14 units, so we can allocate the 10 units for the, we can allocate the 10 units for the S3 row and D4 column. Here the supply of S3 is 18, so 10 plus 18 we already fulfilled the, supply, we already completed the, or we already supplied the whole quantity 18 quantities of the S3 units, but we cannot line out or cross out this D4 because the demand of D4 unit is 14 units, and out of this 14 units we only fulfill the 10 units of the demand, So 4 units of the demand is remaining, and the demand for D3 units, that is the 7 units, is also remaining. Then the supply from S1 is 7 units. Out of this 7 units, we allocate the 5, means 2 units are remaining. S2, the supply from S2 is 9 units. Out of this 9 units, till we cannot allocate any single quantity. Okay, then again we have to repeat the same procedure. Takes the difference, that is 50 10, the difference is 40, then 40 60, difference is 20. Then here the total quantity from S3 supplied are, total quantity of S3 are supplied. There is no need to calculate the difference. Then here column difference, the demand of D1 is fulfilled, means there is no need. Then demand of D2 is also fulfilled, no need. Then the difference between 40 and 50, that is 10, and difference between 60 and 10, that is the 50. Then we have to search out the maximum difference out of this 40 20 10 and 50, that is the 50. That is the 50. So in this 50, the lowest cost of transportation is 10. Okay, the demand of D4 is 14 units. Out of these 14 units, we already fulfilled 10 units, means the 4 units are remaining. Okay, so out of these 4 units, how units we can allocate here? So the supply of S1 is 7 units. 7 units. So out of these 7 units, we already fulfilled the supply of 5 units. Means first out of this 14, we fulfilled the 10 units, means 4 units of remaining. Okay, then supply is 7 units. Out of the 7 units, 5 units are remaining. These 2 units are remaining. 5 units are allocated. These 2 units are remaining. Then 4 minus 2, only 2 units are remaining. So we can fulfill the 2 units. Yeah, 2 units here. But still the demand of D4 column is not fulfilled. Again, the 2 units are remaining. So we can allocate the remaining 2 units in the S2 D4. S2 D4. Then supply of S2 source. Supply of S2 source is 9 units. Out of these 9 units, we allocated the 2 units, means the 7 units are remaining. Means the demand. So in this way, we fulfill the demand of all the destination center and supply sources. That in this case, in this example, we already fulfilled the demand of D1, D2, then D3, D4. We already supplied the quantity from S1 source, S2 source, and S3 source. Here the demand of D1 is 5 units, is this 5. Demand of D2 is 8 units. We allocate the 8 units. Demand for D3, that is the 7, we allocate this 7 units. The demand of D4 is 10 units, so we allocate 2 units in S1 D4, then 2 units for S2 D4, and remaining 10 units for S3 D4. Okay, then supply of S1 source is 7 units, so we allocate this 5 units for S1 D1 and remaining 2 units for S1 D4. Then for the supply of S2, that is 9 units, we allocate 7 units for S2 D3 and remaining 2 units for S2 D4. And the third, the supply of S3 sources, that is 18 units. So supply of S3 sources is 18 units, so we allocate the 8 units in S3 D2 and 10 units in S3 D4. So here we can calculate the total cost of transportation, that is 19 into 5, 19 into 5, 19 into 5, total cost is equal to this 19 into 5 plus 10 into 2 plus 40 into 7 plus 60 into 2. Okay, 60 into 2 plus 8, sorry, 8 into 8 plus 20 into 10. So the total cost of transportation is rupees 77 is 77. So likewise we can solve the example with the help of the example on this Google approximation method. Sorry. So likewise we can solve the example by using this VAM, Google approximation. So friends, likewise we solve the transportation problem with the help of these three methods. So there are the three methods of solving the transportation problem. First method is northwest corner method, second method is least cost method, and third method is VAM method, that is Vogel approximation methods. Okay, so that's it from my presentation on transportation and methods of finding the initial solution through this different methods of the transformation. Okay, so you have any suggestion, any queries, please write me mail. So my mail id is drsandipthakre@gmail.com. Okay, if you have any suggestions about this topic, about the improvement, or about any suggestion, please write me mail. So don't hesitate to write the mail on my and send this mail on my email id drsandipthakre@gmail.com. So thank you very much.